What is up, YouTube? And welcome to Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. I'm Thermite917, along with, as always, Pro Bowl 43 and Kane Jr. 88. This weekend we celebrated, no, not Daytona Day, not that stupid campaign thing, but we celebrated the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, as well as, obviously, the other two races, the Power Shares QQQ 300 for Xfinity, and the Next Era Energy 250 in the Truck Series. It was quite a wild weekend. We didn't expect anything less. It might have even been more crazy than we were hoping for. Kind of some controversy at the end of the Cup race, some big ones across the board, but we'll just send it over to Kane to give us the details. Kane, what happened this weekend?
Oh my goodness, a hell of a lot happened this weekend. The race got off to a very eventful start. Guys were still running 2 by 2 by 2 around the track. They weren't going full choo-choo just quite yet. But then Corey LaJoie, who was driving for TriStar Motorsports this year, he blew an engine going down the back straightaway to bring out the first caution of the season. That re-racks the whole field. And then later on, one of the pre-race favorites, Kyle Busch, yes, our favorite crybaby, cut down a left rear tire not once, but twice. In fact, the second time it resulted in him spinning out and making severe contact with DJ Kennington, and that completely destroyed the left rear of Busch's car and the left front of Kennington's car. And effectively, that took old KB out of the running for the race. But that's not even the worst thing that happened in Stage 1. It's on the final lap. Why they are doing this, I'll never know. But they were running like it was lap 200, and it ended up resulting in a multi-car crash that took out Jimmy Johnson, Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, as well as William Byron, who suffered very minor damage. He was able to continue, but Stage 2 was probably just as eventful. There, once again, another huge wreck that took out a bunch of heavy favorites, including Chase Elliott, who took a huge hit to the outside wall, as well as Brad Keselowski, who was probably the odds-on favorite to win today's race. Kevin Harvick was involved, Casey Kane involved, and Danica Patrick, who of course is making her final NASCAR start. Her NASCAR career comes to an end. How else in a crash? The exact same way it started at Daytona. It could not have been any more appropriate. And as a result, they pretty much ran 2 by 2 by 2, or, well, not really. They pretty much started choo-chooing towards the end of the stage, and Ryan Blaney took home the Stage 2 win. And we segue into Stage 3, where nothing really happened until the 10 laps to go, because, again, they were choo-chooing their way around the top of the track for pretty much the whole stage, and then 10 laps to go. William Byron spins out after a flat tire in turn 4, and that set up a mad dash to the finish where the lead changed hands numerous times between Blaney, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Eric Almirola. I mean, the list goes on, and then with 2 laps to go, another huge wreck happens. Blaney gets caught up, Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, even some underdogs who had very solid runs going, like Matt DiBenedetto and Brendan Gaughan. And that wreck ended up setting up the final overtime restart. Thankfully, there was only 1 overtime this weekend instead of 5 like there were in the Xfinity race. And Eric Almirola, who got a little bit of help from Chris Buescher, he was able to get by Denny Hamlin for the race lead. And then he was in the lead on the white flag lap, but Austin Dillon got a huge run going down the back straightaway with a nice shove from old Bubba Wallace. And, well, he basically ran into Almirola down the back straightaway and wrecked him going into turn 3. So with that, Austin Dillon wins the 60th running of the 500, 20 years after Dale Earnhardt did the same in car number 3 back in 1998. He wins. Bubba Wallace gets his best career finish so far, driving for the King, Richard Petty, in second. Denny Hamlin was third, Joey Logano fourth, and Chris Buescher rounds out the top 5. Our good buddy Paul Menard finished in the 6th spot. Ryan Blaney led the most laps. He finished in the 7th spot with Ryan Newman, Michael McDowell, and A.J. Allmendinger rounding out the top 10. Gentlemen, race ratings. Tyler, we are throwing it over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Kane. I am going to give the race a 7 out of 10. There was just enough action to go around with an interesting finish. It wasn't overly dominated. It kind of was at times. It's weird to say that because it's like Ryan Blaney led 5 times for 118 laps, but it really just didn't feel like that at some moments. Obviously, you had the choo-choo, but we totally expected that. That happens once every plate race. It does hurt the rating a little bit because, you know, it did kind of dumb down some of the tenseness you saw in the first half. But still, it just was a solid race overall. And unfortunately, it ends in a little bit of controversy for some people. But I thought it was a pretty good finish. I mean, and it carries a decent amount of significance. And we'll get into some of that in the awards later. But it was a good enough experience, I feel, and it's getting the NASCAR season off on a good note. Many will disagree. I don't give a shit. Nick, what's your race rating?
I'm going to go 1 point higher and give it an 8, and this kind of applies for the whole weekend too. I mean, there was great racing at times. I mean, obviously, like Tyler said, for the 500, there was some single file racing. Same with the trucks. Like the finish was kind of anticlimactic after exciting racing. There were some wrecks that changed the flow and slowed things down. And so, like I said, it was great racing. Just was hoping for a little bit more. But like Tyler said, we're getting the season off on the right foot. We'll see what comes at Atlanta. Kane.
I'm gonna even you two out, and I'm gonna give the race a 7.5. This is definitely one of the better Daytona 500s in recent memory. I mean, obviously the finish is a little controversial, but hey, what are you gonna expect? But yeah, the choo-choo for pretty much all of stage 3 until like 10 to go kind of lowered the rating for me a little bit. If that hadn't happened, I would have probably given it about an 8.5, maybe a 9. But either way, a very solid race and a great way to kick off 2018.
All right, this week's topic is pretty simple and straightforward. It's about the race and the controversial finish we saw in the Daytona 500. As Kane has already explained the finish, Austin Dillon ended up winning after taking out Eric Almirola. Okay, let's just go ahead and put it right on the table. There was guys blocking all day long, and there was people giving some shoves. It was the last lap of the Daytona 500. So what are you going to do in that situation? You're going to go, because you don't have any more time to dick around. And as we saw during the Clash and a couple other races, you can't just wait. You got to go. And for some guys, they had no other choice. Like, it's now. This is it. It's ending. It's the last lap. It's turn 3 and 4. If Austin Dillon backs out there, what do you think happens? I'll tell you. He loses his momentum. He could get hit in the ass. He could potentially get wrecked. Okay? That's what everyone that is so pissed off is not seeing. He could have ended up wrecked. There could have been a wadded mess behind. Oh, and then Eric Almirola wins. Whee! Happy thoughts, right? No. Okay? Because that was just the nature of the beast. You saw it in the Clash. You even saw it in the duels. These cars are edgy on the plate tracks. Whatever package, whatever they did this year is just a little too edgy. And even though it wasn't insanely evident today, they probably, all the teams, I would certainly hope so, adjusted their setups. But it still was clear that you really couldn't give a huge shot and cars could easily get loose. So, to me, there's nothing really controversial about it. It's just what you saw all week. And I don't know why they're so pissed off now. I guess it's just because it happened, just so happened to decide the race.
There's not a whole lot to add there. I mean, of course, I wish it didn't happen. I wish Almirola at least had a shot at it and Dillon could have just gotten around him. But they connected and Austin Dillon hooked him. But that's what was happening all race. Pretty much every big one was caused by someone getting a huge run, the other guy blocking, and the guy in back either choosing not to lift and hitting them and wrecking, or backing off and getting wrecked by someone else. I mean, that's just how this package is. They're just so edgy. You can make one move to block, but if you have to block another lane, then you're probably going to get turned by it. And just simply, like Tyler said, it's the Daytona 500. Austin had a huge run, Eric blocked, and Austin didn't lift. I mean, anyone would have, in that situation, would have done the exact same thing. So I'm just going to, put the controversy aside and just say it was just a great story that Austin Dillon won on the 20th anniversary of Earnhardt's win, and the whole Lucky Penny thing, which we'll get into. And I mean, it was just a cool end. I mean, it wasn't a perfect end, but it was still cool that Dillon was the one on top, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, these so-called fans, I mean, wouldn't know what hard racing was if it hit him across the head. I mean, it's like Nick said, it's the Daytona 500, the biggest race of the year. Why would you lift on the final lap? And why would you just roll over and let the other guy pass you to avoid getting wrecked? Look, you gotta go all out for this, all right? Eric and Austin didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, Eric blocked, but he had to. I mean, this is just like at Homestead in 2016. Carl Edwards had to block Joey Logano if he wanted to win the championship, even if it got him wrecked. That's what you gotta do, all right? You gotta be aggressive. Oh my God! And these people don't get it at all. So that's why they get the crying towel. Oh my God! These fans being a bunch of crybabies. They wouldn't know hard racing at all. They're probably just the casual fans who don't like seeing people get wrecked. Oh no! Ow! This is so hard to fathom. Yeah, that damn Austin Dillon, he's a rotten son of a bitch, he's a dirtbag. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You probably think that too, I bet. He's a spoiled rich kid. Yeah, he had a silver spoon in his mouth.
Oh man, seriously, man, those fans, absolutely, they get the premature crying towel. We're not even in the awards segment. This is how pathetic it is. They are crying so bad, and we're sitting back here laughing our asses off because we enjoyed what we saw, and we're not afraid to call out bullshit. So that should kind of tell you something.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first crying towel of 2018, right?
In a technical, yes, and it goes to fans who constantly bitch, who will bitch all year long. This was
no
just
surprise
overkill.
there.
Yeah, there is no surprise, but they had to go to those guys because this was absolute overkill. I mean, just flooded social media. Unbelievable. I think the fans at the track actually enjoyed it. I heard them cheering, but who knows? I'm sure there was plenty of pissed off people there too. Fucking Austin Dillon. Yeah, whatever. You know, go ahead and piss on something nice, but we won't. We're not going to. We're not gonna be like that. So fuck you guys, and enjoy your crying towel, bunch of babies. The trucks race in Daytona, and our favorite segment is back. You know what it's time for. It's Where Did Cody Coughlin Finish? Oh, big old meatball sub. He was back at it, saddling the number 2 Jegs.com Silverado for GMS Racing, his brand new ride, and he finished in 17th. He actually ran a really good race, but unfortunately it just wasn't in the cards for him after blowing 2 different tires. He started in 10th place, got stage points in both stages, and was looking like he was in prime position for a solid finish. Hell, maybe potentially even cheesing a win. But it wasn't in the cards for Cody, so let's see what he had to say. Well, we had a good run going tonight and a really fast Jegs.com Chevrolet Silverado. We just had terrible luck. It's hard to overcome 2 flat left rear tires and having to start at the tail of the field a lot due to those issues. Hopefully we can get this luck turned around for next weekend at Atlanta. Oh, Cody, I know. I agree with you this time. I'm not gonna make fun of you. You really ran a great race. You had the most lucky race I've ever seen. Like, one of those tires that went down, it went down on the backstretch and they crashed going into 3, and you were in the middle of that storm. Had that tire never go down, you probably would have crashed. So, holy shit. What a start.
He also missed another big crash with Greenfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a start for Cody. I can't say that I'm not proud. I am. You guys are proud.
Sure. Definitely.
Of course
I'm
you're
very proud of old Jegsy.
Jags!
Yeah, of course. Jags! It's good to be back. We're officially
straight.
back. Yep.
Alright, now it's time to hand out some awards for the second week of Speedweeks and the Daytona 500 race weekend, as well as the Xfinity race and the trucks. You'll find awards for all of them, so let's start it off with the classic boner of the week. We have actually 2 of them. Nick, who are they?
The first one is for Jennifer Jo Cobb for the Truck Series. She was just trying to dodge a small wreck by going down pit road. Well, she went down pit road all right, but it was not with no damage. She slid, locked up the tires or something, and went flying into the inside wall. Truck caught fire. She was later okay, but she banged up her wrist pretty good, I think, or her arm, and she said they had a bruise the next day, but she's okay. But man, that's a backmarker type wreck for sure. I mean, or ARCA even. She was just trying to miss it, and it really did not work out. So, got another Joe Cop blowjob for the boner there. And then for the Xfinity race, Austin Cindric. Oh man, he raced like Austin Cindric. He found himself in the middle. Guys were racing really hard around him. He was like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" And he ping-ponged off a couple guys into the outside wall, then back into the path of other cars, slammed into Christopher Bell, and then back into the outside wall. And the funniest thing was, he didn't complain about how loose his car was, which it really looked like it was loose. He just said that guys were racing too hard and put him in a bad spot, which basically shows that he couldn't hold the wheels straight, because, I mean, he was basically on the straightaway when he hit the guys. So he was out pretty darn early. There was no wrecks the rest of the race until the big one started happening more late. So he was the only one having issues, apparently.
Yeah, the classic Cindric, bitch!
Cindric, bitch!
Yeah! Next award.
The next award is Trifecta from Hell, and that goes to Jimmy Johnson, who had a Speedweeks from Hell. Okay, he wrecked all 3 times he got a chance to. Wrecked in a clash, wrecked in a duel, wrecked in a 500. Oh my God. He has not been terrific on plates since he last won his last plate race in the fall Daytona race in 2013. It seems like he just can't stop wrecking these plates. I don't feel bad about it. The guy's got 7 titles. Seriously, there's no time to feel bad for Jimmy Johnson about anything anymore. Like, his time has come. It's time to start wrecking. Okay? I'm sorry. If you're a fan and that offends you, I don't give a shit. You've got 7 titles. Jimmy had a terrible Speedweeks. Sorry about your luck, Jimmy. And I feel really bad for the people that had to go overtime to build new 48 cars. But, oh well. Too bad. Sorry about your luck. Good start to the year. Finished 38th. Next award.
Our next award is Heartbreak City. And it goes to 3 gentlemen who had absolute heartbreak in the Daytona 500. Chase Elliott, Matt DiBenedetto, and Brendan Gaughan. All 3 of them had solid runs going until they were taken out in multi-car wrecks. It's especially heartbreaking for Dibby and old B Gaughan there. They were in contention for the win with 2 laps to go, and then the big wreck with Kurt Busch, Blaney, Bowman, and all those guys happened, and they just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Heartbreak, heartbreak, heartbreak. My God, start playing Def Leppard here. Jeez.
Alrighty, the next award is hashtag Dickhead Denny. Pretty obvious, right? It goes to Dickhead Denny Hamlin. Yeah, this is no real surprise. At the end of the race, he lost. He was fighting for second with Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace admittedly was pretty aggressive coming to the line. But hey, every spot counts. And especially for Bubba Wallace, that team is kind of smaller. They're going to go for it. He's going to fight. They're racers. Come on. They made a little bit of contact. But once coming to the line, Bubba did beat him by just a hair. Wow, it's a shame that wasn't for the win. But Denny just presumably forgot to turn left. Just kept going right into the wall. Banked him off the wall. I mean, hey, that hurt his car too. I don't know what the hell that was all about. And then he wants to sit there and pull the excuse. Oh, I think I blew a tire. Fuck you, Denny. You're just a piece of shit. Oh my God. Like, really, just the whole Martinsville thing last year has just taken you from like, oh, he's just there, he's not that bad, to you're just a level fucking 100 dick. God, I can't stand you no more. Go fucking ship some fucking FedEx packages with your shitty express service.
Special delivery, asshole.
Special delivery, asshole. Yeah.
Asshole.
Glad you didn't fucking win, Denny. Hope you go winless, piece of shit. Next award.
Next award is the Straight Jacket Award! And it goes to the entire field in the Xfinity race! because, oh my God, these guys were blocking and throwing punches with their cars on the tracks. And how this didn't cause a huge wreck until overtime, I'll never know. Oh my God, I mean, this is actually one of the best Xfinity plate races I have ever seen in a long time. And holy crap, and if that wasn't crazy enough, the finish between Tyler Reddick and Elliott Sadler was the closest in NASCAR history at .0004. Yeah, NASCAR's timing and scoring doesn't even go that close. Golly, Xfinity, you must be freaking crazy! But you're not the only ones that are freaking crazy this week, because we're also giving another straitjacket award to FS1 and Fox Sports for their stupid graphics leaderboard. What the hell? This whole bar on the side of the screen, it takes up like a fifth of the screen. We can't see what the hell's going on then. Your ticker during the commercial breaks was better because it was actually at the top. Oh, what a novel concept. Yeah, because we want to see, we don't want to take up, a whole chunk of the screen on the side because we want to show you more information. Okay, I don't frickin' care. Fox, you must be freaking crazy. If you think taking up half the screen is going to make it more enjoyable for us, well, it's not. Next award.
Hey, I want to add more on that, actually, before we go to the next award. You can't forget 5 overtime attempts in the Xfinity race. You must be freaking crazy.
5 overtimes, that's right. Thank you, Tyler.
Holy shit. Oh, and one more thing about that Fox ticker. When you win a stage, you got a green little S1 or S2 right in place of your interval, because apparently that just takes over as your interval. Real smart. I don't know what dipshit came up with that, because highlighting your name in green, that's just too difficult.
I know. It's like, old Chase Elliott's 3 seconds back at the leader. Martin Truex is S1 back. Like, what?
Since we know that's going to happen this year, let's just get it out of the way now. Stage winner, MTJ.
Thank you, Kane.
Our next award is Lucky Penny, and this is also kind of sort of the start of the cigar awards. We already know Austin Dillon won and how he won, but this is even crazier because of some of the story behind it. So apparently before the race, Austin encountered a fan, and the fan's like, "Hey, man, give me your hat." Like, he's not robbing him; he just wants the hat. And Austin's like, "Okay, I'll give you the hat if you'll be my fan." And then he's like, "Okay, bro." And then I guess somehow after that, he looked at the ground or found someone else, and he encountered a penny, and the head was up, and that means it's lucky. And he's like, "Okay, I'll keep this." Then he taped it on the dashboard, and apparently it gave him the luck he needed to win the race. But that's not the crazy thing. It also ties back to the 1998 race that Dale Earnhardt won, when a Make-A-Wish kid came up to him and gave him a penny and said, "Dale, you're going to win." And then Dale won. I don't know if that was like foreshadowing or just like weird things happen on anniversaries, and it gives you chills when you think about the connections and all that. I don't know. I mean, it's just such a cool story that added to the already cool story of Austin winning on the anniversary and all that. That being said, like I said, we're heading into the cigars. Tyler, what's the official first one?
The official first cigar actually goes to somebody that wasn't even on track this weekend. My man, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was the honorary starter for the race. Gave an absolutely badass command. You don't see commands like that anymore, with just some heart and some passion, getting you fired up for the damn race. That was pretty cool. We need to see that from more people and future races to come. So, cigar to you, Dale. Now let's head into the Truck Series. There was a couple of good finishers. First, Joe Nemechek, out of nowhere. He was the second Nemco truck. They start and bark a lot, but he decided to run the full race in the Truck Series. Came home third. Ran really clean, drafted with John Hunter a little bit. Unfortunately, had the look at John Hunter crash himself, but no, he kept it straight. Finished in third, did a great job. And the next cigar goes to Jordan Anderson, his first career top 10. New number 3. That was surprising to see in the Truck Series. And a new sponsor and a whole deal. They just ran another clean race, avoided all the shit. Almost didn't bring that thing home in one piece. Got crashed at the line, lost a couple of spots, but still finished in the top 10. His first career top 10. So Jordan, great job. Who are the next cigars? Kane.
Our next cigars go to a bunch of guys from the Xfinity Series race who had great finishes. The first of which, making his Xfinity Series debut for JGL Racing, Kaz Gralla. Wow, who would have thought he would have a top 5 finish in his first ever start in the Xfinity Series for an underfunded team, no less. You get a cigar. And then right after him, Garrett Smithley got his first ever top 5 finish driving for JD Motorsports. You get a cigar. Spencer Gallagher, driving for his dad's team, GMS Racing. He finished 6th after wrecking late. He took advantage of the 5 overtimes that ensued and came home 6th. So that's a pretty impressive. So anyways, Nick, who are the next cigars going to?
All right, these are for the Cup race. Some good finishers from there, or good runs and then gone bad. For example, Eric Almirola. He put himself in a great position. He was probably going to win, maybe. And then he gets wrecked by Austin Dillon, but, I mean, that would have been something if he won in his first race with Stuart Haas. I mean, that would have made Danica look really bad if he couldn't win in however many years and he wins his first one. Then there's Bubba Wallace, finishes 2nd in not his Cup debut, but first in his full-time season for Cup. And the funniest part was his post-race interview where he took a couple jabs at Denny Hamlin, who obviously, like we talked about, pushed him into the wall coming to the line. He mentioned the Martinsville race, and then the funniest thing was it kind of goes along with what Denny said the other day, where he mentioned that 70% of drivers must take Adderall to focus better and everything, and that got him in some hot water. But Bubba brings that up and said, well, Denny must need to take some Adderall to focus better for that one. Then in the media center, the press conference is going on and everything, and then Bubba's mama comes up and says, man, I'm so proud of you, boy. We worked so hard for this. And then Bubba starts crying. He's like, oh, golly gee, mama. And it's just, like, I'm trying not to cry right now. I said I wasn't going to get emotional, but, I mean, it's...
Damn it, I wasn't going to get emotional. Oh, we're emotional. Bubba.
I mean, it's just such a cool story. I mean, for the 3 to win and the 43 to be second, I mean, that's cool on its own. But, you know, just the story with Bubba and everything, it's so nice to see stuff like that. But that's not all. Michael McDowell, in his debut with Front Row Motorsports, comes home 9th. I didn't even really see him all race. He might have been in the top 10 a couple times, so that's great for him. He's known to be a pretty good plate racer. And Justin Marks in the 51 for Rick Ware Racing. We remember old George Spoonington. Well, he wasn't on the car today, but, you know, he'll always be in our thoughts. But Justin comes home 12th in that piece of crap. So, I mean, just so many great runs. I mean, and that comes with plate racing, but I think we even had more than usual just because of all the wrecks and stuff. So, pretty cool cigars.
Absolutely. Hey, he parked that shit box right outside the top 10. I bet Rick Ware is beside himself. Cody Ware is probably, like, in between his bipolar spurts and all sorts of shit. So, good for those guys. Good for all those guys. And that is it for the awards segment.
All right. Here are the best paint schemes for the Daytona 500.
Hell yeah.
And then, unfortunately, as usual, there were a couple that were not so good.
Danica Patrick, her final race, we've already mentioned, ended in the perfect way. And I don't feel bad about that car taking a fucking hit at all. That is disgusting. Are you kidding me? GoDaddy had a brilliant opportunity with this car to potentially turn it into a throwback of her nationwide days. Oh, hell no. They didn't do that. The GoDaddy, with their new little sleek logo. Yeah, it isn't as good as their original. They just went with the cheapest goddamn thing. You can't even use the excuse, oh, they didn't have enough time. Shut the fuck up. I got two premier guys sitting right here in this goddamn podcast that could build a car in a half hour with a hell of a lot more passion than that piece of shit. Are you kidding me? The green don't even look good. Nothing about this car is good, except for the logo that was on the deck lid, which you didn't see. Okay, that's it. Pointless, awful car. And that leads into two more awful cars. Guys, help me out here. What have we bitched about quite a bit since they were unveiled?
Oh yeah, we've complained about these a few times, but I mean, why not complain about them again? Because they were in a big race this time, and they should never see the light of day in any kind of race. Period. It was Jimmy Johnson's Lowe's for Pros one. That's his primary for the year, unfortunately. Same with Alex Bowman's Nationwide car. Kane, what the heck is wrong with these things?
I don't know. Brandon Droppo, that's what's wrong with them. He droppoed the ball when he made these paint schemes, pun completely intended. Golly, man.
Just look at them. I don't even want to talk about them. They're just so bad.
No.
Exactly.
No.
If you can't figure out what's wrong with them for yourself, then I'm sorry, but you don't know jack shit about paint schemes, graphic designs, anything like that. But you need a graphic design that's great. Oh, that's right. We got one. A guy with one. His name's Thermite. Okay? And we share the exact same opinion, and we dissect cars like crazy, and we agree on all the same things. Just, bad paint schemes. I don't feel bad that Jimmy crashed 3 of them. I hope he continues to crash them. Again, another dig at Jimmy. The paint scheme is awful. Let's move on.
Ficus!
Photoshop key access.
Learn to use a pen tool, you bastards.
I'm taking away your Photoshop license, bitch.
Bitch!
Alrighty, it's time to recap the fantasy picks for the Daytona 500. And Nick, fresh off his championship loss, comes out banging with a win after picking Denny Hamlin, who accrued him 35 points and a 3rd place finish. Demani, a significant drop-off. We all had bad finishes. He picked Kyle Busch, who finished 25th, had an absolute day from hell, accruing only 12 points. I had 7 after picking Chase Elliott, who was knocked out just past halfway, finishing 33rd. And Kane rounds out the rear after picking Brad Keselowski. A great pick, but unfortunately he got knocked out in that same wreck with Chase Elliott, finished 32nd and getting only 5 points. So now it's time to make picks for Atlanta, and Kane, you are first. So who is your selection?
Well, this pick should come as no surprise because we're going to a mile-and-a-half track, and, well, it's safe to say this guy was the king of mile-and-a-half tracks in 2017. You already know who I'm going to say. It's Martin Truex Jr.
Oh, it is a fucking surprise.
You know, he's a solid pick, and that's pretty much what I need to make this year in order to, stop finishing in the fucking cellar every goddamn week. God!
Oh, Kane. Great passion.
Yep.
I'm up next, and I'm going to choose Kevin Harvick.
Jackass!
I think it's pretty simple. Kevin Harvick's really kicked a lot of ass at Atlanta the past couple of years, but yet he continues to find ways to lose. I just feel like he's not going to lose this time. And he won a recent mile-and-a-half race in Texas. I feel confident with it. He'll get some good stage points. Potentially get myself a fantasy win. Demani, who is your selection? Nick, you're the winner this week. Who's your selection for Atlanta?
Yes, I was the winner this week, in case you didn't know. I mean,
Ass.
I got to win the early races so I can choke later. I mean, that's why it's called choking. But, we had a feel-good story this week with Austin Dillon winning at Daytona, but let's have 2 feel-good stories in a row. Whose home track is it next week? Chase Elliott's.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And let's not forget how good he was in the chase last year. He was consistently good. I mean, obviously Denny screwed him over and everything, but he's great at the mile-and-a-halves. He's going to recover from his terrible Daytona 500, and he's just so overdue. I think with his new number, I mean, this is his time to shine. I mean, he basically has to. So I think Chase Elliott's going to get it done.
Well, we have reached the end of our podcast. This has been an excellent episode of Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. So for Demani HD, glad he's participating in fantasy once again this year. Sure as hell hope he don't win. For Kane Jr. 88, what is there possibly to say about Kane that we haven't already said, and he hasn't made any noises? We love Kane though. For Thermite 917, God damn it, I'm so salty he won that fantasy race. That son of a bitch always wins, it seems like. Except for in the chase, which is my
Yes.
favorite time of year. And for myself, Pro Bowl 43, was a little under the weather. I'm kind of salty about Chase Elliott getting wrecked.
Excuses.
I'm not gonna give any excuses. I'm just telling you the truth. Fuck. See? Right there.
I don't think that was believable enough. I don't know.
Fuck you, Nick. Oh, Nick, you salty squid. I'll tell you right now, if I wasn't 600 miles away from you, I'd choke you within an inch of your life.
Lying like Denny Hamlin, you must have a right front tire going down.
Or
In
Matt
your
Kenseth
face.
in New
Oh, Matt
Hampshire.
Kenseth, yeah. You Matt Kenseth
Yeah.
bandwagoner. Where was he this weekend? Oh, wait.
Yeah,
You
I don't know
even
where he was this week, but I know where he was in his Cup debut at Dover with something for Bill Elliott, finishing 6th.
You knew that was coming. You damn it. Damn you.
Yeah. Well, the thing of it is, you know, he is right.
The thing of it is, he did finish in the top 10 of my car for his Cup debut. I tell you right now. Holy shit, we're going to end this podcast. So, thank you again for riding along with the journey. You have been behind the wall. Presented by Perky Jerky. Thank you for listening. I dropped the cylinder halfway through that halfway through that red. Oh god, I need some water.
I think he's going to recover from his terrible Daytona day. Oh crap, I said Daytona day.
God damn it.
Voice lesson.
Ass.
Okay. Apparently, before the race, some random fan came up to him and said, you know, hey, I'll give you, or Austin said to the fan, I'll give you my hat. How did that? Which one said it? A little less. Hold on. I had it, and then I pulled a cane there.
We're going to go into the next award, and that is another classic, the Cigar Awards. First one goes to somebody that wasn't on track this weekend, my man Dale
bastard!
What?
Lucky Penny.
Oh, sorry. Go. So just because me and Kane don't have an official graphic design degree doesn't mean we don't... Fuck.
Whoa.
This is part of being under the weather a little bit. This is what happens.
Voice lesson. All right.
Ass.